All right, all right, all right. We're back for another day of the Astro Weather. The week is kicking in. I mean, well, it's already kicked in. I mean, if you started your week yesterday, it's kicked in. But if you're officially starting your week like myself today, it is now officially kicking in. Let me just adjust my my hoodie here. Doesn't really look right. Hold on. What are we doing here? There we go. All right. Gotta have the correct hoodie position before you start the show. Hey, what do you think of the background today at the thumbnail? That's courtesy of our guy Ryan, who some of you know from chat. That's his image right there. He took that. And if you have images of sunrises in your part of the world that you would like me to use, I'm happy to do that. And you can send them to me at my email address. That's astrophoenix@gmx.com. And I'm happy to use your image and feature it on the show. So there you go. Let's see. Who do we have here? Let's just do a quick little roll call, and then we'll get the ball rolling on today's show. Double K, California Contrarian, Michael Sister Nino, Mr. Bo Kabuki Theater, KZ Gypsy Muse. Need the weather report this morning. Coming at you, KZ. Sigurd. Oh my God, it's a sunrise by Young American Primitive kind of morning. Okay. Sigurd just keeps dropping. He keeps dropping these bombs. Young American Primitive, the first Young American Primitive record is incredible. Incredible. And it was on this label called Zoe Magic. Zoe was the name of a cat. The cat was the cat of the owner of the company. And Magic, of course, just was Zoe had magic. Young American Primitive. I believe the guy who did that was Greg Scanavino. And he was kind of on the tip with like, Aphex Twin and Prodigy and all these young dudes who were emerging like in the middle of the 90s with very interesting electronic sounds. And he was so popular that there was a bidding war on Young American Primitive. And Warner Brothers signed him, and he kind of freaked out because now he had all this pressure to do like a hit record, right, for Warner Brothers. And eventually it came out. It's called African Cosmopolitan. But that Young American Primitive record is it's so good, man. I used to listen to that fucking record over and over and over again. Sigurd, you never disappoint. There he is, my man Ryan. Greetings back at you. It's a good thumbnail, good background, brother. Brandy, 37 in Sin City. Jackie Delorio. Christina Jerzik. Hi, CJ. Happy Tuesday to you too. Barbara Boutte. We're gonna just put a little, what do you call it? Diacritical mark on the S. Barbara Boutte in the house. Ms. Behaving too. Wit Centropy. What's going on, Wit? Good to see you checking in from Mexico. Lina Winkler. Hi, Lina. Susie G. 39 and clear and chilly. Looks like winter is finally upon us. Even here in interminably always summer Texas, it is now, I think, officially arrived. Our guy, Thor at the door, Steve, is here. Deborah R. Rain is coming into the Northwest Florida region today. So all you folks in Northwest Florida, get your bumper shoots out. Make sure your galoshes are not far behind. Nora Rashid, the queen of speed. Darlene, road trip 1981. Let's see. Yes, become a member of Locals. I'm going to do some Locals time and put some time in on Locals this week. Let's see who else. Big Dave Sullivan's here. Tom Jordan in the house. Tom almost overslept this morning. I had to wake him up. Tom had a busy day yesterday. He was a road warrior. He needed his rest. There she is, a lovely and talented one. Let's give a little visual for her there. Saving Austin one tooth at a time. Speaking of Steve, there's Zerlith Immortal. Neil Smith in the house. What's going on, Neil? Janice Phillips. Did Saturn finally go direct? Yes, indeed. Pluto's almost there. We're 3 days away. 3 days away. Moonsprout, Lisa Ann White, Liddy Lou. We got an all-star crew. Absolute all-star. Warlanda's here. Healing Heart Rosie's here. Who else? Who else do we got? Queen Lisa's here from Florida. Moira from NYC. Who else? Somebody's trying to get a hold of me. This could be something I may have to take. Hold on. This could be like a repair guy. Hold on a second. Hello? 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 Yes. I knew that's who it was. Knew that's who it was, and I had to get that call. So got a little problem here with the old septic tank. And I re-upped the home warranty. So that was the home warranty repair guy. He's going to come out and look at the skeptic tank. So I had to get that. Anyway, thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. All right, why don't we jump into the weather? Just get into the weather. You know what I didn't do? Did I get into now? I didn't get into now. Hold on. What is this? Is this a now? Is this a now? Hold on. Hey. Let me get into now. Give me 1 sec here, good people. By the way, there's some people I want to thank for coffees who recently purchased me some coffees. And I'd like to thank those people personally. So let me do that. Let's see. So who do I want to thank for coffees? Well, I know Janine bought me some coffees. So let me just give a thanks to Janine. Let's see. We got so Janine bought me 20 coffees. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate that. I'll do a little round of thanks over on 15 minutes as well. Joe Machuga, thank you, Joe, very much. I appreciate that. And also Dova Haza, thank you. So thank you for the coffees I've received over the last couple of days. Much appreciated. All right, let me just do a quick little tweak here so I can get us moving. There we go. Let's do that right there. All right. Let's do that. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. There it is right there. Let's do that. And let's do that. And let's do that. And let's do that. Right there. Okay. And boom. Bada boom. Bada boom. Bada boom. Bada bing. Oh. All right. And away we go. Thank you for your patience. We'll zoom in. All right. That's where we are. We're locking in today. Locking in. That sun is at 27. 27 Scorpio. We got a nice little kite pattern. Sun, Mars, trine because the sun is within hailing distance of Mars. 3 degrees away from being in a trine, an actual elemental trine with Mars, fire to fire. But today it's water to fire. And it's interesting. It's steamy. It's hot. It's lava-like. It's passionate. We have the Mars-Neptune trine still happening, which is creative. And we have the Sun-Neptune. We got a grand trine, ladies and gentlemen. We got grand trine energy today. And since Mars is the highest planet in the chart at the moment, it is the most dominant planet. So we are aspiring towards some degree of creativity, courage, authenticity. Mars and Leo emboldens our efforts. The sun in Scorpio pushes us to go further than we've gone before. And this is a fantastic way to kind of start off of our week, even though yesterday was the theoretical beginning of the week. Although some people will say it's Sunday, but we're not going to quibble. And even Sunday, you would have had that Sun-Mars trine, right, going on. And that energy is just going to get stronger over the next couple of days. So the confidence in the system, we'll call it the system. Confidence in the system is at a recent all-time high. Recent all-time high. Like if you look at the stock market's going bonkers. I was so there's this. Some of you people know what this store is called. Natural Grocers, right? Natural Grocers, and we have one in Fredericksburg, which I used to go to. I love that store, and we don't have one here in Kerrville. So I want one. So I called. There was no way to send them an actual email. What they had is they had a phone number. So I called the corporate headquarters and I left a message and they called me back. And I said, hey, you need to have a Natural Grocers here in Kerrville. And I gave them the reason why. I said, there's population over 20,000. We don't have any really good. Oh, there's a health food store here, but it's, it's like one of those health food stores that you ever walk into a health food store and it doesn't feel healthy. You ever walk into those, it's kind of like, there's something about this place. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the smell, or it's kind of like you need an upgrade. Like this was a health food store in the 1980s. And it feels like it, right? It feels like the products are kind of outdated. It's, and they're doing their best, I'm sure. But that's the only competition here. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Natural Grocers, their stock went from 28 is it 20 28 27 to $33 a share. in like the last week. Like, holy shit. If you're holding natural grocer stock, everything is like going through the roof. And you know, Warren Buffett, which is really interesting, sold all of his stock or a lot of his stock a couple of weeks about over the last couple of months. It's like, well, Warren, if he just waited a little bit longer, you would have topped off even more. But that's the confidence. So you're going to see more of this confidence as the sun moves into Sagittarius, and and we have this trine with the sun and Mars, and even at 0-1 Sagittarius, we're going to have this grand trine. Here we go, Sun sextile Pluto today. Look at that. That's topping off the kite pattern of the grand trine, and it feels very optimistic. I mean, the general the weather in general, the conditions in general are optimistic. Now, we are going to have some retrogradism. That Mars is going to go retrograde once it hits 6 degrees. So it's kind of like, like you're getting to the top of the mountain, and a little bit of a Sisyphus action, and the boulder starts rolling downhill a little bit. So the next few days are going to be kind of this peak period of the time that we're in. And then this momentum that's been building ever since the election starts to reverse a little bit. And I could see that there will be more impediments on the path of Donald J. Trump becoming the 47th president. Now, we know that usually what happens with that is some weird kind of inverse reaction. So either the critics or his persecutors wind up being criticized and or persecuted. And that's just the nature of this thing with Trump. And David Icke said, well, it's all the deep state. It's the deep state. It's the cabal. This is why you can be so successful. It's because of the cabal. I'm gonna give you a little astrology 101 here. And we'll get into this. I'll show you with our star of the day. If you don't have a chart that is going to match up to whatever the cabal or the club or whatever can do for you, you're still not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful. I'm sorry. There is like the whole thing with David Icke is so disempowering. He went from this guy who is like, let's blow the top off of, these limitations around, our human existence. We're way more than we think we are. We have this vast cosmic potential inside of us, and these impediments are the things that are keeping us from experiencing that. And I think there's a large number of us who would agree with that. On the other hand, now all he seems to do is fucking complain. He's become this one-note wonder, and it's almost like his account has become a parody account. It's just really, really, utterly bizarre to kind of watch him do this and go down this path. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because he thinks that he puts so much agency in the cabal or in, the cult. And it's like 90-10. Like he empowers them so much by giving them so much credit and making them sort of the locus of everything. It leaves the chart out, right? Like you can't. I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like you can only, like the so-called cabal or the club or the cult or whatever can only do so much if you don't have the bones inside your chart in order to, be a requisite representation and have a kind of a long tail or an enduring run. It won't matter. It just won't matter. So anyway, we're reaching this kind of peak moment here post-Trump election with that sun coming in Sagittarius, and eventually that Mars is going to go retrograde, and it's going to move backwards. And that's when we see on a large scale, the impediments, they start to come up, right? And eventually that Mars will come back into Cancer, where it will hit Trump, Saturn, and Venus, which we've talked about. And it's a clash. The battle begins again. We have the moon in Cancer today, and by this time tomorrow, it'll be creeping up on a conjunction with Mars. So tomorrow, there's a lot of passion and intensity, right? We got that moon coming in and opposing Pluto, and tomorrow is a get the fuck out of my way day. A get the fuck out of my way day. There's potential for empathy, but this moon is like, my empathy comes first. I've been holding space for all you suckers for such a long period of time. I'm kind of done with it. This is about me now, right? Coming in here and playing with this grand trine, this moon coming in, opposing Pluto. Today we got the moon trining Saturn, which is good. You know, two entities that don't always see eye to eye, but today they're cooperating. Right? Today's a good day. Today's a really, really good day. Again, to take stock of what you have, be thankful for what you have, and also look around and say, you know what? I may need a little more of X. Right? It's also a good day for you to take care of family members. It's not so much of a burden. Like if you have a kid that needs money, and I'm waiting for that call in the next 72 hours, it's not as much of a burden, right? It's just not as much of a burden. It's like, okay, this is what we do. It's good. We'll take care of each other. Now, when the moon goes into Leo, may not be as easy to say, hey, what about me? What about me? The last 24 hours, I just took care of all these other people. Oh, wait a minute. What about my needs? So take care of that stuff today. The moon is separated away from Venus. So it's at 18. By the time we reach late afternoon today, for you people across the pond, as they say, that's going to be what? I don't know, 8-9 p.m. your time. That moon is moving away from the opposition. So we had more of that opposition yesterday and last night. And yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad opposition. It's more like, okay, these are my feelings, and this is my relationships, my feelings, my relationships, my feelings, my relationships. You know, I need me time. I need me time. And I need to separate away from the people that I have an agreement with. It's not bad. It's not like, hey, screw you, I don't ever want to talk to you again. But we're moving out of that phase. And today is much more akin to taking care of our kin. What else we have? Mercury right there at 19 in Sagittarius, never afraid to speak its mind, squaring off against Saturn and Neptune. We talked about this on Sunday night, right? Mercury Saturn square. It's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But it's moving away from Saturn, getting closer to Mercury Neptune. And this is going to be very interesting, this Mercury Neptune square. It's sort of like, okay, let's see the composite of lies. You know, let's see what turn your bullshit detector way up with this Mercury Neptune square. Don't take anything at face value. I tell you what happened to me last night. I was over on Twitter, and there's this photo, this image. Let me see if I think I might even have it on my computer. Let me see if I can show it to you here. Hold on. Well, I know I have it over here. Give me 1 second. It's kind of an important illustration, literally an illustration. Yeah, right here. So I first saw this last night on Cliff High's chart, or Cliff High's, not his chart, Cliff High's Twitter feed. Come on. Oh, hold on a second. Now I've got to be, I've got to be creative with this. Hold on. There we go. What the fuck is going on with my program? This is really weird. This is really weird. You got to be kidding me. All right, so every time I try to make this thing happen, it turns into something else. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, hold on. All right, here it is. I got it. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. Patience pays off. All right. So this is an image that was on Twitter last night. And how the hell did this 1721 painting by Dietz Knudsen predict the Trump Elon RFK McDonald's in-flight dinner? Okay. So I looked at this, and 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 I thought to myself, this is somebody's AI rendering. This is not a real picture. And Dietz Knudsen is basically a Dutch version of These Nuts. Now, it would have been so easy to repost this on Twitter because, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Even Cliff High reposted it. And I didn't do it. This is what I'm talking about with this Mercury Neptune square, right? Like, just you want to be careful. You don't want to look like the village idiot, and I might have looked like the village idiot. So yeah, I saved it. I sent it to the lovely and talented one, and she said, "Who is this artist?" And I said, "Well, I think it's AI, and I think it's a prank." And Sagittarius has a good sense of humor, right? But you also want to be the butt end of the joke. So don't bite on everything that is being sent your way with that Mercury. You got to use some discernment. We are in big time discernment territory with that Mercury Neptune square. Just saying. And then Mercury opposed Jupiter, of course, even more discernment is needed here. Jupiter square Neptune, right? This is like a time of big time illusion where things look real and they feel like the truth, but they're not really the truth. You know, and they're the simulacrum of truth. And even this idea that because we've been kind of entrained with it, you know, with the Ingersoll Lockwood books and the stories of Barron Trump and the last president and all that stuff, right? And the weird like time travel shit with Trump. And there's some of you, I'm sure, are aware of the TV series called Tracker. And it was a short-lived TV series. I think Steve McQueen might have been in it. And I think Robert Culp might have been in this episode. And there's a guy named Trump that comes to town. And he's this sorcerer. And he wants to build a wall around the town to keep the people safe. Like, how the fuck does this happen? Right? So we've been entrained, and the Simpsons have entrained us as well, to see that they have had cartoons that have basically predicted where things were going. So when we see something like that, it's easy for us to say, oh, look at this. Here's another example of it. But in actuality, it's a LARP. It's a LARP. So keep your eyes open here. Just keep your eyes open. Not everything that you consume, and we consume ideas, information, and media through Mercury. Not everything you consume is real. The sun is just moving outside of this opposition with Uranus. And it's still there, though. We're still in this opposition. And, man, Uranus is right there in Algol. It's retrograding. But Uranus and Taurus has just been a wrecking ball. Absolute wrecking ball. So I think this sun opposition, if you've experienced some setback or loss, something that's kind of gone wrong or gone afoul, the sun in Scorpio is a good time to remediate that stuff, right? So get on top of the things that are a little chaotic and hectic. Like, for instance, if something's wrong with your septic tank. I like today. Today's got great energy, and it's going to continue. I feel like this is the weather part. I mean, we're looking at, the next couple of days where the weather, especially with the sun getting closer and closer. Now, when we get to that 29th degree of Scorpio, we'll have a bit of a different discussion. But even when it gets into like 0 Sag, we're in that trine, right? Even at 29, we're in that trine. So the weather is clear and sunny, and there's a lot of energy and optimism. So what you want to do is stuff like this, right? Is you want to ride it for as far as you can. A lot of times I use sailing as an analogy for astrology. So if you have the wind at your sails, you can go what they call wing on wing, which allows your boat to go faster versus the wind at the helm of your boat, right? And then you now have the wind in front of you. And so what you have to do is you have to tack and go back and forth and adjust your sails to try to catch a little wind that's coming at you and propel you this way, and then tack back. And then, so there's a real strategy when you are sailing and dealing with conditions of the wind. And so when you have the wind at your back or the wind at your sails, you go wing on wing, and you have both of those sails out there, and you can cover some ground. So astrologically, you can cover some ground over the next couple of days, just on the overall vibe and feeling alone. But don't take it for granted. It's not going to last. When Mars goes retrograde, you'll begin to see this kind of erosion in some ways. It won't necessarily be an erosion, but it'll be an erosion around the conditions. So take the energy and fill up your lungs and go forth and conquer over the next few days. But just make sure you're not sniffing the bullshit, right? You're not sniffing the bullshit. You're not just buying into everything. All right. Let's talk about our star of the day. In which case, we have to get our banner up for True Hemp Science. There we go. Let me bring the star of the day up here. Today's a very interesting day, birthday-wise. A lot of interesting characters born today, right at the end of Scorpio. There we go. Let's talk about True Hemp Science a little bit. So True Hemp Science, of course, is the one-stop shop for all needs CBD. And if you get $100 or more, you type in 15MINS, you get the goodie bag where you get at least one of each of these. Sometimes you might get a little more, but you'll get one of each of these, whatever this is. And your these gummies, I'm telling you, they're worth the price of admission alone. And then you may get a vial or two. I don't know exactly, but this one is Doze, and it's called Doze for a reason. It helps you sleep. So go to truehempscience.com, check out all their varieties of CBD, organically sourced. Our guy Chris is a mad scientist, puts all these great batches together. And if you spend $150 or more, there's always free shipping. So you're knocking about anywhere between $3 to $5 off your order, and every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. And then you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So 15MINS is your code. And if you spend $100 or more, you'll get the goodies. All right. Let's talk about, it's the stars of the day. It's Larry King and Ted Turner. And it started off for me yesterday, just looking at Larry King. I'm like, oh, look at that. Ted Turner is born on the same day. Well, not the same year, but the same day. Larry King is 5 years older than Ted Turner. And Ted Turner made Larry fucking King. He made him. Now, Larry King was a very successful late night, nationally syndicated radio talk show host. And he would talk about anything from sports to entertainment to politics. Larry King's longtime radio guy. And you can tell, right? Sun, Mercury, Juno, 10th house. So he's going to use his voice in order to communicate with the world. Pretty simple, right? You can just see it. 10th house Sun, he's going to be well known, right? He's going to be just a well-known figure. But Ted Turner comes along, and Ted Turner is like the salt to his boiling water. It's like the nitric oxide to Larry King's engine. That's who Ted Turner is. Because we have this Venus-Mercury-Sun conjunction. And so when Ted Turner hires Larry King for CNN, it's a whole, it's like he's taking Larry King to another level. And even though CNN is the first 24-hour news station, which is problematic in and of itself, but there was a time when CNN was it employed real journalists, people that came from other networks, and I remember they had Deborah Norville, who came over from NBC, and I was waiting on tables in Seattle, and I forgot about this. I was waiting on tables in Seattle, and there was this woman who was part of this party who worked at CNN, like at that time, right? She was working at CNN at that time. And, when you're a waiter, you just strike up conversations with people. And so I said, hey, this Deborah Norville thing isn't really working out, is it? And she looked at me. I think she was involved in ad sales, like at a high level for CNN. She shook her head and she said, no, she's not a good fit. She's not going to last. And she wasn't. There was something about CNN in the mold of CNN that you kind of needed to be in. You needed at that time, you needed to be kind of edgy, right? And you needed to have a little bit of saltiness. And Deborah Norville didn't have that. Deborah Norville ultimately just wanted to be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And I think losing the gig from CNN was gift. It sort of lifted her burden. Larry King's a different story. And Larry King is able to elevate CNN's profile with his interviews, and he has a ton of interviews. I'm going to show you a clip from the 90s. It's very bizarre, but it shows you not just the power of Larry King, but the relationship between Larry King and Ted Turner. I'll show that to you in a second. Ted Turner's True Node is up here as well. So Larry King's tapping into Turner's True Node, and then Turner's Part of Fortune is right on his midheaven. Like, once Ted Turner hired Larry King was a made man with this chart. Are you freaking kidding me? Here's Turner's Mars conjuncting Larry King's Jupiter, 9th house. It's like super empowerment. Of course, Larry King has the True Node in Aquarius. And as I talked about on Sunday night, Aquarius is the waves, right? It's the radio waves. And so Larry King made his bones off of communicating Part of Fortune Palace through the radio waves. Ted Turner comes along with his Jupiter, conjuncts Larry King's True Node, and voila, it's like the radio waves on steroids. It's cable TV. And even Ted Turner's Saturn down in Larry King's 3rd house, communication. And Larry King has Uranus here. So he's got, whatever you think of Larry King, he's got some genius. And he has Mars and Venus. He's got Venus on the, what's interesting about Larry King, if you look at his wife, Larry King lived a long fucking time. He just died a couple of years ago. I think he died in 2021. But his last wife, you look at her, man, she's beautiful. Larry King had a thing for beautiful women. And of course, one of Larry King's famous stories was he was on the air one night. This is a long time ago when he was starting, I think it was in Florida, as a disc jockey. And there was this woman who got on the phone and started talking to him. And she was like, hey, I'd like to lay down with you. So what does Larry King do? He puts on a record and plays the whole side of a record. Maybe it's 20 minutes long. And he jumps in his car and he zooms over to this woman's house. And they have a wham, bam, thank you, man. Gets back in his car, zooms back to the studio, and is able to get back on the air before the record is over. It's kind of an infamous Larry King story. A little Mars action there. And it's 0 Capricorn. And look at this. You got Ted Turner's Mercury, his Juno conjunct Larry King's Moon. I mean, this is a freaking match made in astrological heaven. All right, so let me show you this clip of Larry King. And it's kind of muddled, but you have to let me just get rid of this. You have to watch the subtitles. Okay, here we go. Okay. So just watch the subtitles here. Now, this is Larry King, 1997, right? Doing CNN. The audio is a little low and garbled, but have a listen to this, and this will show you exactly what I'm talking about. His relationship. This is more about his relationship with Ted Turner. But also, look at Bill Clinton. He's kind of a dummy. Here we go.
So I wanted to finish the thought here.
This is off the air.
Live. Been around the world, but it's hard to believe we're being watched in 151 countries. Ted Turner changed the world. Big fan of it. He would serve you that. I'm this right. He's ready. What's he got left in life? After you're elected, think about it. No dope. That's for sure. Great guy to work for.
So essentially what he's saying is that Ted Turner can serve him, right? He'll serve him as Bill Clinton becomes president. So that's Larry King as the go-between right there. So let me bring up the chart one more time. One more time, just so you guys can see it. Behind it, oh, hold on a second. That's not it. It's right there. It's the behind the scenes. It's Mars, and his Mars is right in Ted Turner's first house, right? So this is all behind the scenes. This is all covert. Right? But at the same time, he's acting in some ways as an agent for Ted Turner. Fascinating. Absolutely, utterly fascinating. And even here, right, Larry King's Sun and Mercury are in Ted Turner's 12th house. So they have an interesting covert relationship. I'm telling you, man, the power of synastry, when you have the right person in your life. Larry King was big. Ted Turner made Larry King massive. And Larry King helped boost Ted Turner's ratings on CNN higher and higher. If it wasn't for Larry King and 9/11 maybe in the Gulf War, CNN is one of these things that doesn't work. And 24-hour news. Who wants to see the news 24 hours? Right? But it was those two events, the Gulf War, which CNN was all over, 9/11, 24/7 coverage on 9/11, and Larry King. Those are the three things that really made CNN. All right, we're out of here. Look at that, with time to spare. So please join us over on 15 Minutes. There's a link for Boxcast, a link for Rumble. We'll be moving to Rumble after the first of the year. And I hope that as many of you can join us. I think I'll be simulcasting on Boxcast for a while, just Boxcast or Rumble, because there are a few people in Europe that can't get to Rumble. And then what I'll do is I'll have, I think I'll have a simulcast of Rumble inside of the locals page. And so hopefully if you're in France and France blocks Rumble, if you're in France, you could probably go into locals. We'll try it. We'll do a kind of a test run. You might be able to watch through locals. You might be able to watch the show through locals on Rumble. All right. That's it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Have yourselves a blessed day. Treat each other well. And we'll be back tomorrow for the Astro Weather. Bye for now.